This week on Dumb Pitches, my guest is Alingon Mitra, and he pitches us some merch ideas, one of which he has already made. It's amazing. It's great. It's confusing at times. It's an emotional roller coaster. You're going to love it. Here we go. Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, to the YouTube channel, subscribe on Apple Podcast, follow on Spotify. Eventually, I'm going to learn all the different things that you have to do for each different platform. But we're happy you're here, and I'm very excited to have my guest today. Help me welcome Alingon Mitra.
Hey!
Oh,
wow. Here. Thank you. Thank you for the applause.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm excited that, we were just talking about it, but I'm excited you could do it. Like, we can do this from, you're in New York and I'm not.
Is that your podcast host shirt?
No, this I haven't even worn yet, but should it be? Are you saying this?
I like it as a brand for you.
Okay.
I'm kind of seeding a little bit of where we're headed. That's why I'm commenting on your shirt.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Well, I do have to be honest and say that this is a little boy's size. So, well, not little boys, but it's a boy's sweatshirt that I got at Target. And because of the sweet pandemic, I didn't fit in it at first, but now I do. So look good for me, huh?
Hey, way to go.
Yeah, trying to take care of myself again. But tie-dye's in, I guess, and I wanted to buy this, and so I did.
Okay.
And now it'll work out. Now it'll work out for my branding, apparently. Okay. All right. Well, we like to start and give our guests some credibility so that everyone knows you have had good ideas. You know, because we're talking to successful people about their worst ideas, so we have to prove the successful part. So, Alingon Mitra, very funny stand-up comedian. He's been on Conan. He's done Colbert. You are a writer for The Daily Show with Trevor Noah and Adam Ruins Everything. And just recently you started a podcast audio sketch show called The Daily 2, which I'm actually really enjoying all the clips and stuff. So you've
thanks.
Lots of good
I hope that's enough for the listeners and viewers to establish the good ideas, credibility for what's coming later. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No, it's not that terrible, but I just feel like whatever I have done really isn't that much. So they're going to be like,
I feel like everybody feels like that, but I'm impressed. I think it's a good list. You are in the category of success. Don't worry. So I sent you the idea. This is how it works. What are some bad ideas that you first thought of or idea?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you some ideas that I've had.
Okay.
And they kind of like weave into each other.
Okay.
But I wanted first to talk about bad merch ideas.
Oh, nice. Yes, this is great.
Basically, I'm sure your people know, but like comics will sell stuff after shows. Mm-hmm. And I went on tour with a bunch of other Indian comics one summer, mm-hmm. and we decided the merch that we were going to sell is like mixed nuts. Because let me explain where, because I kind of came up with this idea, and then I kind of had to justify it. But basically, like in a lot of like Hindu temples, mm-hmm. you'll get like a bag of like mixed nuts after you go, and it's supposed to be like blessed. It's kind of like, special
nuts,
food,
I guess.
Kind of like holy food. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, we can kind of play off that and sell these bags of mixed nuts. What I didn't realize is that like the profit margin is very low because nuts are quite expensive.
Oh yeah, especially if you get some of those fancier nuts in there.
Right. And on top of that, we ended up making the bags of nuts ourselves. Like we didn't buy them pre. So we had like an assembly line to put these like bags of nuts together, and then we sold them as merch, where we said like you can just like donate, kind of like a temple. It really wasn't worth it, but that was one of my bad.
Did that work out really? Did the people get them? Did they buy them?
Well, I don't want to speak, I don't want to say bad things about like Indian people, but like some of them got it and they were like, okay. And then some of them just took the nuts.
Oh, I see. So you didn't got it. It's
yeah.
Like donation based. And then they're like, well, I'm not going to, but I'm taking it.
Right. Like, this is perfect. It's free. But that was a bad merch, I would say. Because we just took so much time actually putting them together. Like who?
Yeah, that sounds like you're doing like gift bags for a birthday party or something, and that's what but most of the audiences understood or were Indian. Were
I hope
there any
so.
like white people that showed up that were like, I don't get it, but this is.
oh no, yeah, there were definitely. I mean, like it was probably like 60% Indian and then like 40% not. And I don't know if we did explain it when we were
like, either you get it or not. That's the way I like the idea of just some white people being like, that's an interesting merch. They're just doing concessions after their show.
They just think, these people are hungry. I feel like, I don't know, I associate white people with trail mix.
Yeah.
So
they do.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So maybe they were just like, oh, this is finally comics who are thinking, more compassionately about their audience.
Associate people with
like you're going to be hungry.
I mean, that's pretty true. But different Chex Mix, trail mix, even like a scramble. White people do like just a mixture of stuff in one. So I don't think mixed nuts would upset anybody.
Huh. You're starting to convince me that maybe it is a good idea. Maybe next time I'm on tour, it just goes back around and I'm like,
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone doing food of any
kind. Food of any kind
after a show.
So I had another idea for merch that I pitched to the guys and that got shot down. Keep in mind the nuts didn't get shot down, so
right, the nuts got through this filter.
But I wanted I thought like I don't know, I'm kind of like a heady, so I was like maybe bookmarks would be like a merch. But they were all like, dude, this is a comedy show.
Like, we didn't write a book, though.
Yeah, like nobody, it's just way too nerdy to give after a comedy show. So that was shot down.
I mean, that would have to be like just a giveaway situation.
You think
like,
so?
I don't think people would.
Nobody would buy. I feel like people. I don't know.
People are really just defending this one.
No, it's just that people are like so like they're just drunk after a show,
right,
and they'll just buy stuff.
That's true, but I don't know if you're drunk and you're like, oh yeah, I gotta finish that book when I get home.
Not just finish a book, but I gotta remember where I left off.
Right, yeah. Because I haven't had a bookmark this whole time.
I keep restarting it. Yeah.
I don't remember what happened. That's the problem. What if that was like your drunken thing? You just read books anyway. So.
You just read books?
Yeah.
Oh man, what a great drunk.
Right, but then you wouldn't remember. You read the same book every time.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some merch ideas.
That was one merch. I also have, so this is another bad idea that I had that I implemented and may become merch.
Okay.
When I was in college, me and my friend were like, we'll start a business, and we're gonna sell shirts.
Okay.
Because college kids buy like funny shirts.
Right.
The shirt idea I had was a shirt that says awkward, okay? But awkward is written like at your belly, like a little bit. So like it's just like at a weird place. So the shirt itself is awkward.
Got it. Okay. So looking at where that is awkward because it's, I mean, if it's right there.
Yeah, it's like a weird place to have the writing on the shirt.
Right.
The shirt itself is awkward. And me and my friend put money into making these shirts. And then we chickened out and we didn't sell the shirts. But as a result, I have a couple hundred of these of these shirts, which I was like, maybe I can. it's been like not like a decade or a long. It's been more than a decade. But I'm thinking of like going when I go on tour. Maybe I can just try and hawk those.
You just
finally.
kept them with you too this whole time. You just had them.
They've been in my parents' basement.
Wow.
Do you want to? I have one of them. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, absolutely. We've never had an example on the show. This is great.
Well, it's probably a bad thing that you've not had any. Like, it speaks poorly for me that I actually went through with it.
Yeah, people are like, it's a bad idea that I didn't do. Alingon's like, nope, made it and everything.
I'm actually trying to sell these things. Hold on.
There we go. I mean, that's pretty, and that's on the front.
It's the shirt. That's on the front. Okay. Oh, maybe it should have been on the back.
Well,
Do you think that's what the mistake was?
No, I don't think that was the mistake. But I think that there's maybe a bit, or just you could say that it's like a feminist thing because we have to have the writing printed across our boobs all the time. And you're like, well, what if we made it down here so guys understand what it's like for people to be reading your shirt, but it's across your genitals? Huh?
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm so ahead of my time.
Yeah. You were like, I don't know why this is good, but I'm going to make them and eventually it'll make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have so many of these. It's really bad.
This is great. I mean, yeah. But at a comedy show, you're right that people are drunk, and if they like you, they want to buy. It doesn't really matter what it is, kind of thing. Sometimes, So I think the shirt would do just fine.
The other thing I think would be funny is to just, because a lot of times, comics will have like a bit, and then at the end they'll be like, "Oh, this thing." It's a callback to. I like the idea of not having anything in my act be about awkward or a shirt. There's nothing, and then just at the end of the show being like, yeah, and I've got some merch if you guys want to check it out, and then it's this awkward shirt for no reason.
Yeah, and you're like, this is just an awkward pitch.
It's just a shirt.
There you go.
Here's a bookmark. Here's some nuts. I just love it. It's just like a random assortment.
That is, the Alingon Mitra fan is just sitting under a tree reading with this shirt on and having some mixed nuts at the same time.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. He's like an enlightened individual.
Yeah, it sounds peaceful and enlightened.
Yeah. That was another one of my bad ideas. Yeah.
I love that you made it though. That was like,
well, yeah. The thing was, I was in college, and we spent like basically all our money on these shirts because you don't have like
What happened to your friend? Did he just bail on it and he was like, "You can keep them"?
We basically. Well, no, he did. I mean, he paid me for his half of it. Really? And then occasionally he would be like, "Hey, can I get one of those? Because I'm going to give it as a birthday present." And he gave it as like birthday presents.
I just got 200 birthday presents for the rest of ever. Whenever you forget.
And just keep giving shirts to the same people. They're like, dude, we have so many of these.
Well, you need a different size now.
Yeah.
I think you should. I will see what people say in the comments and stuff, but I think you should sell them.
You think so?
Of the three ideas, I think that shirt could work.
I think you're saying that because, of the three. Okay, of the three, yeah. I thought you were saying it because you want me to come back later and tell you how badly it went. It's like, yeah, you're like pranking me right now. Like, no, Monica said. No. I have like a black eye because people have been beating me up for trying to sell these shirts.
Would people look, I don't think anybody.
People don't care, right? Yeah. People don't care. After a show, I feel like I've seen some shirts that people have sold that are not the most highbrow jokes.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah, I think, well, and I've also seen, like you said, like I've seen people sell stuff that doesn't have anything to do with their act. And that works, or like has like just like a nice quote on it. It's not even like a joke or anything. So, I mean, I sold, and this was the best merch I ever sold. The most money I've made, I sold underwear after shows, and they weren't like mine or anything. I I had a joke printed on them.
Maybe I should be selling my underwear.
Yes, I think. I don't know if anybody's done it after shows. I know there's comics who sell their underwear, but
sure, yeah.
That's well, that would be, you know how like rock stars or something, they'll like take off their shirts and throw it in the audience or whatever, or
right.
Athletes will sign their shoes and throw it in the audience or something.
Right, or the jersey or something like that.
Yeah,
it could be a thing. We could start a trend. Comics, they're selling the underwear from, you know how like a jersey, like a Jordan jersey from a specific game is worth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like that, where it's like, oh man, you got, you know, whatever, you got like Kevin Hart's underwear from his Netflix special.
Yeah, exactly.
That's worth at least $2.
That is a weird, I mean, I think about memorabilia like that because I do like sports memorabilia, where I would never sell it again. You know, a lot of people do cards or like jerseys or whatever, and then they're like, oh, we got to wait till it goes. It's like an investment and kind of stock market type of thing where you're like, oh, it's worth more now, so I can sell it. I want to like frame it and keep it, and I have bobbleheads and all that stuff. So if I was to sign my shoe, sign my bra from a special taping, I'd be like, you better fucking hang this up in your house. I'm not.
And not just hang it up, but like the same way they put up like banners for a championship.
Yeah, exactly.
You need like a ceremony where you're like,
when you're on a conference call in your home office, I want it across the background of your wall.
Yep, absolutely. That reminded me of like other bad investments that I've made. Okay. In this realm, like you did it the right way, where if you get sports memorabilia, you get it for, you like this team, you like this player, I want to keep this thing. When I was a kid, like sports cards, they were like baseball cards, basketball cards were kind of like they were trending at a certain point, kind of like Pogs. And my brother is like an actual like sports nut, and he like knows players, and so he was like, all right, let's buy some rookie cards. And these were the players who he bought. These were rookies at the time. He got like a Derek Jeter rookie card and an A-Rod rookie card. And I was like, and he got them for whatever, it was like cheap, right? Because they were like, they had just started playing at that time.
Actual rookies, yeah.
They were actual rookies. I bought a Scottie Pippen rookie card.
I mean,
and he had retired already. There was no, this thing was not going up in value. You were the
upsell. That's what that one. Yeah.
I was the guy who was like, no, this thing. So I got a Scottie Pippen rookie card for $50. I think
that was that was the highest value of that card, I think, and you bought it.
I think the case it's in is worth more right now than the card itself. Mean,
The Last Dance was out. Maybe it went up for a little bit then. I don't know.
I think it might have gone up, but until that episode where they focus on him leaving,
right,
where he left right at the end, then I think its value dropped. Yeah. I should have sold it. I should have sold it at that one moment. Yeah.
That was a long con there to buy that one and then wait until a documentary comes out 20 years later.
Yeah. Just with the hopes that they would feature Scottie Pippen.
Right. And I'm sure he'll be in the vicinity of some fancy documentary. I loved Scottie Pippen as a player. Don't get confused. But
yeah, no, that I mean the episode on Scottie was great. Like where they talk about like his just upbringing. Yeah. So should have sold it.
Yeah,
then.
You should have sold it then.
Ugh.
Missed your chance.
Yeah.
Did your brother ever sell them then?
No. They're with like the rest of the awkward shirts. They're in like the basement of my parents.
That is, I mean, if you had like a Derek Jeter, I mean, it depends on what team you liked. You'd have to be an A-Rod fan, I guess, to put it up somewhere, you know.
Yeah, but no, we grew up in Boston, so we can't show those.
Can't show either of those. No, don't.
Yeah, I did get like a Nomar rookie card, which also was not. It didn't really pan out.
Yeah, that didn't have the same. But then you put it up. I have a Edgar Martinez card like in a case, but it's like on the shelf.
Yeah.
I could take. I mean, the A-Rod one. I guess I could put up. I guess.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, that was probably. I don't know. Was he doing steroids when he was in Seattle?
Based on aesthetics, it does not seem like it, but because he was a lot
smaller
then.
I do wonder about like people who take steroids. Like, I think there is something to like if you take steroids and you get jacked, but there must be people who take steroids and it still doesn't kick. You
just get the bad side effects where your head grows but your muscles don't, like that.
Yeah, there must be people, or like because you got to still lift, right? Because I think about it, because sometimes I'll have like a protein powder and then I won't go exercise, so then I'm like, what the why did I just do that? I'm sure there are people who are like, all right, I'm gonna take this and then I'm gonna go lift, and they're like, I'll just watch Netflix. They watch like The Last Dance.
Yeah. That was, I mean, so my degree is in sports and exercise science, so we talked a lot about like steroid use and stuff. And there's plenty of places where that is allowed, I mean, there's weightlifting and bodybuilding competitions where there's some that are natural and some that are not, and they know that people are doing steroids, like that's part of the thing.
Yeah.
And just some of the side effects are pretty crazy. And
what are?
Well, it does. It makes your balls
smaller. I feel like you're pitching steroids right now.
I know. It's no, it does make your testicles smaller for some reason. I don't really understand why. And then
is that a bad thing?
That's true. No one's like,
it really depends.
Bigger.
Yeah.
But your head size does grow, which is scary. I guess everything grows. I don't know. So like, they had interviewed one of the trainers for, where did he play? ASU at Barry Bonds when he was in college, and that was apparently when he had started doing some of it, and his hat size went up like 2 sizes. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. But there's people, so because they were allowed to do it, they would like regimen it and only be on certain things for like a month and then go off it, and they had these like cycles of it. But
if you get off it, does your head get small again?
I don't know if it gets small again or if it's like you get off it before it gets big and then it won't grow. Like when you gauge your ears and there's like a certain size that your ear won't go back to normal from. So it'd be like right before that size,
I kind of got a little lost on the ear gauge, but
I'm saying I feel like there's a point of steroids where there's not going back. Like it wouldn't. There's a threshold of once you've done this much, then I don't know what I'm saying either. So.
Okay. Do you think if I had just the bookmark, the shirt, the nuts, and just a needle with some steroids.
But you had to buy them as a package, or could you just buy the needle?
Ooh, I think I would make it a deal. I'd be like, look, you can, you get all 4 for a certain price. Yeah, I'd do that.
Okay, so you're buying it for the steroids, but you get these extra bonuses too. So
the thing that I worry about, I don't have an album, but if I make like an album and I sell that along with this other stuff, right? And then people come after the show and they're like, you know what? I'll take the nuts.
Oh, they don't want that. That's okay. So you'd have to do it as a package.
Like it would hurt.
But you would kind of feel bad for the person who's like, I really just wanted the bookmark, but I guess I'll take the steroids too, whatever.
I'm okay with. Look, I gotta, because you gotta ship that stuff wherever you go, right?
Oh yeah.
Like whenever you're going to perform, you gotta bring it along with you. So I don't feel as guilty about like, oh, you just wanted the bookmark, but I gotta sell you the steroids, because most likely if I'm trying to smuggle steroids across state lines, I'm going through something, so I would rather not have to deal with it on the way back.
Right, I'd put in the effort to get you steroids across state lines. So
the least you can do
is also take the mixed nuts. Okay.
Is risk increasing your head size a couple inches. or for this gag.
That's great. I think it's a solid package of of merch. I've seen deals before, but not a whole. It's like a gift basket, honestly. That's like
When you were selling underwear, what were it was male, female, both?
Both. I had a boxer brief, and then a bikini cut normal, full butt lady underwear, and
or man.
Yeah, whoever wants to wear them. I was not there to judge. A lot of people bought what you would consider the opposite of their gender, I guess. But they're all comfortable and whatnot, so get in there.
Would you ever be like, oh, I haven't done laundry, I got this merch?
I've never worn them. I've done that with t-shirts though, that I was selling.
You've worn them as underwear?
Yes. I forgot underwear again.
Because that's definitely happened with me in the shirt. Because I at this point I should just wear them. So I've worn the shirts.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I didn't actually. That happened with the nuts too. While we were on the road, we were just like, we're hungry. Let's just eat these nuts.
We can't stop for snacks. We're gonna just eat these nuts. That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, if you had, it depends on how well they go. I don't think I ever did it with the underwear because they sold really well, and I was like, well, I'd rather go commando and make $20 than.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's my motto as well. I'd rather go commando, and make $20
than wear these and sell them for $100. No. Which I always had to make jokes about because inevitably there'd be some guy that came up and smelled them or whatever when they were just sitting on the table, and I was like, oh my God, I like how you thought you were the first person to do that.
I feel like that should cost money as well.
I should charge for.
You should charge for. Yeah. Even they're fresh, but regardless, that guy's getting something out of sniffing them. He should have to pay a little bit.
That's true. Yeah. I'd just be like, they're $20 each, but you smelled them, so that's a $5 at least. Come on. Yeah, that's great. Merch is a hard thing to go. That's the other part. Obviously, your brain has been working, thinking of different ideas. But now I have my albums. I have 2 albums, and I have the drop cards, which is great to travel with. But they sell fine. Just not. Okay. Doesn't hit quite as hard as being like, oh, I made underwear. Like that in itself was like, oh, that's great. But that joke's really old, and I don't want to do it anymore. And it wasn't super easy to print on the underwear, so it's like you got to think of something.
Wait, do you have excess at this point?
A little bit, but I basically just sell them at certain shows, I guess. Like if I'm headlining a show that I produced or something like that, then I'll bring them. But there's not a ton left. They're available online if you want to buy them. But yeah, so I'm out of some sizes and whatnot. Just trying to get rid of them now that I have. That joke is on the album, yeah, and so it's like it's not done. But I've been doing it for a long time and ready to be done doing it. So.
Have you thought about bundling them
with the album?
Yeah.
Oh, I have not. I really
just wrap the download card.
I really hadn't considered bundles until this conversation specifically. So merch bundles. I do a deal for the 2 albums. They're 10 each, but if you buy them together, they're 15. That's pretty good.
Right.
So another $20. You can have a pair of underwear.
Yeah, I'm into it.
That's good. I think you do it with the shirts, and you do check back in and tell us how it goes.
You think I sell the shirts? Okay. All right.
Are you planning a tour in the next year where you could do that, or?
Not really, but now that I have these shirts to hawk, I better.
Start. You're like, I really didn't want to go live again, but I have these shirts.
Yeah, I like the idea of really going hard on stand up just to get these shirts sold.
You're really invested in the.
The end goal is still to get rid of these shirts, but as a result, I have a killer tour.
Right. You're like, I wrote this whole hour. That's just great because I needed to sell these shirts.
I needed to sell these 100 shirts.
That would be a good special promo is you wearing the shirt and it's called Awkward. That'd be great.
Yeah. All right.
That's pretty good.
But the whole premise of the show is these are bad pitches, and I feel like you're pitching me something that I came on the show being like, this is a bad thing, and somehow you've jujitsu'd this into a tour around the very thing.
It happens
that
every
I was
episode. I'm very supportive. And then the idea becomes our idea. It's not even yours anymore. We got to figure out.
But it's like a reverse Shark Tank. I'm coming in and I'm like, I want you to invest in this. And then you're like, how about you pour more money into it and then give me whatever you make of it?
I've like talked about this show as like a bad Shark Tank, but never reverse Shark Tank. And I think that's
reverse Shark Tank.
But that it does often happen where I'm like, all right, let's see this idea you haven't really thought about, or that it's not that good, and let's really think about it and figure out if we can do it or not. It's just fun. Well, I want to know. You have the shirts, we might as well.
I do have the shirts, yeah. I might as well.
That's the biggest thing with this one, is that most people didn't have the thing they were talking about. You've already actually made it.
You were already dumb enough to make this thing, so.
Well, we'll put the link where you can buy the shirts. Where can people find you? Where's the website or social media? Where can they check you out and the podcast and all that stuff?
Yeah. My Instagram is at Alingon Mitra, which seems like conveniently placed right down there.
It is.
Likewise for TikTok and Twitter, it's at Alingon. For the podcast, which is basically, it's just like a parody of The Daily every day. It's thedaily2.com, TOO.com. So that's that's where to find me more. Find more of me.
Check it out. Follow so that when you do go on this tour, you can go and support and also buy a t-shirt and mixed nuts and a book.
It's the same thing where people aren't coming out for the comedy. They're coming out for the shirt.
They're coming. Yeah. They're just like, come on, wrap it up. I'm here to buy a shirt. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being on. The best merch ideas we've had for sure.
Thanks, Monica.
Yeah. Check him out. Follow. Also, give us a follow. Subscribe. Whatever. Rate and review. 5 stars. You guys know the deal. And you can follow me too, Monica Nevi. That's good. Yeah. And then Third Wheel Podcast Studio. Check them out if you want to make a podcast or check out their other podcasts they make. Beautiful camera work here. It's Third Wheel Podcast Studio in Seattle and in Los Angeles. So check them out. But right now, just keep watching Dumb Pitches.
You're weird.
Yes.